Do you feel an emptiness you can't explain? Like something important is missing from your life, but you don't know exactly what? In the next few minutes, I'm going to reveal what your soul is really asking for, according to Carl Jung, and how that emptiness can become your greatest strength. There's something probably no one has told you about that hollow feeling in your chest. That emptiness isn't your fault. It's not depression. It's not that you have something broken inside you. It's your soul screaming at you that you've been living someone else's life. Carl Jung called it the wound of the unlived life, and understanding this can change everything for you. Think about it for a moment. How many times have you felt like you're playing a role you didn't choose? How many times have you said yes when you wanted to say no, smiled when you were falling apart inside, been available for everyone except yourself? That emptiness you feel isn't coincidence. It's your soul telling you, enough, it's time to come home, to yourself. Jung discovered something revolutionary in his years of studying the human psyche. He discovered that existential emptiness doesn't come from what we lack outside, but from what we've abandoned inside. And what we abandon most is our authenticity, our ability to consciously choose who we want to be instead of who others expect us to be. The first truth you need to understand is this: the emptiness you feel is proportional to how much you've betrayed yourself. Every time you've pleased others to be accepted, every time you've silenced your truth to keep the peace, every time you've put others' needs before yours out of fear of rejection, you've been emptying your soul drop by drop. Jung observed that the emptiest people weren't those who had less, but those who had given away the most of themselves. They were successful people, loved, socially recognized, but inside they felt like ghosts of what they could have been. Does this sound familiar? The problem is that from childhood, we're taught that our value depends on how useful we are to others. We're taught that being a good person means always being available, always understanding, always willing to help. But no one teaches us that there's an abysmal difference between being kind and being an emotional doormat. When you live constantly available for others' needs, when your schedule always has space for other people's problems, but never for your own dreams, when you respond to messages instantly, but haven't asked yourself what you really want in months, you're creating that emptiness with your own hands. Jung had a phrase that changed my life. Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to a better understanding of ourselves. Now think about this. What irritates you most about people? Those who don't respond quickly? Those who seem indifferent? Those who say no without explanations? Maybe what really irritates you is that they've learned something you haven't yet: how to protect their energy. Here comes the first practical exercise. For the next 3 days, every time you're about to say yes to something you don't want to do, stop. Take a deep breath and ask yourself, am I saying yes because I really want to, or because I'm afraid of disappointing someone? And if the answer is the second one, practice saying, let me think about it. Those 3 words can save you years of resentment. If this message is resonating with you, give this video a like. That tells me you're ready for what's coming, and believe me, what's coming is even more revealing. The emptiness you feel has a deeper cause than you imagine. Jung called it the unlived life, but I prefer to call it the silent betrayal. It's what happens when you spend so much time being what others need that you forget who you really are. You know what's the cruelest part of all this? The more you betray yourself, the more empty you feel. And the more empty you feel, the more you try to fill it by pleasing others. It's a vicious cycle that can last decades. You know people who have lived entire lives without ever really knowing themselves. Jung discovered that we all carry what he called a persona, a mask we use to be accepted by the world. The problem isn't having this mask. The problem is when the mask becomes more real than your true face. When you've worn the mask of the pleaser, the available one, the one who always understands for so long that you no longer remember who you are without it. Has it happened to you that someone asks what you like and you don't know what to answer? That they ask for your opinion and you automatically ask what others think first? That they invite you to choose a restaurant and you say, whatever you want? These aren't acts of humility. They're symptoms of a soul that has disconnected from its own desires. The emptiness you feel is your soul asking you to come home. but not to a physical home, but to the home of your own authenticity. It's your essence screaming at you to stop living on autopilot, to stop reacting to others' expectations and start creating from your own center. Jung understood that the human soul needs three fundamental things to not feel empty: autonomy, authenticity, and purpose of its own. Autonomy means you decide how to use your time and energy. Authenticity means you express who you really are, not who you think you should be. And purpose of your own means you live for something that resonates with your essence, not just to fulfill roles others assigned you. Now, practice this with me. Close your eyes for a moment and ask yourself, if no one could judge me, criticize me, or reject me, what would I do differently in my life? The answer that comes to you, no matter how crazy it seems, is your soul speaking to you. Write it down. Don't analyze it, don't judge it, just write it down. The second truth is this: emptiness is also an invitation. It's your psyche telling you that you're ready for the next level of your evolution. Jung called this process individuation, which basically means becoming who you really are, not who others want you to be. But here comes what no one tells you about individuation. It hurts. It hurts because it means disappointing people who love you only while you're convenient for them. It hurts because it means breaking family patterns that have existed for generations. It hurts because it means standing alone and facing the discomfort of being misunderstood. The process of filling that emptiness isn't about adding more things to your life. It's about removing things that aren't yours, removing opinions you adopted to fit in, removing goals you pursue only for approval, removing relationships that exist only because you're afraid of being alone. Jung observed that the most fulfilled people weren't those who had more, but those who had learned to say no to what didn't belong to them. They had developed what he called the transcendent function, the ability to choose consciously instead of reacting automatically. Do you know what's the difference between a person who feels empty and one who feels fulfilled? The empty person lives asking, "What will they think?" And the fulfilled person lives asking, "What do I think?" It's that simple and that difficult. Here comes an exercise that can change your life. For 1 week, every morning when you wake up, before checking your phone or interacting with the world, dedicate 5 minutes to asking yourself, what do I need today to feel aligned with myself? Not what you need to make others happy, what do you need? And during that week, commit to doing at least one thing each day that nourishes that need. The emptiness you feel isn't your enemy. It's your wisest guide telling you that there's a version of you that you haven't met yet. A version that's waiting for you to have the courage to say, "This is me, and this is not me." Now we come to something Jung considered fundamental, but few people understand. Your emptiness is also connected to what he called the shadow. The shadow isn't something bad or evil. It's simply all the parts of you that you've repressed because they didn't fit with the image you wanted to project. Have you noticed that the people who irritate you most often reflect qualities that you secretly admire or have denied in yourself? Maybe you're bothered by selfish people because deep down you know you need more healthy selfishness. Maybe you're irritated by those who seem insensitive because you secretly envy their ability to not absorb everyone's emotions. Jung discovered that existential emptiness is often the result of having rejected essential parts of ourselves. You've rejected your right to anger because good people don't get angry. You've rejected your ambition because it's superficial to want to stand out. You've rejected your need for solitude because that's being antisocial. But here's the revolutionary truth. Integrating your shadow doesn't mean becoming a bad person. It means becoming a complete person. It means recognizing that you can be kind and firm, that you can love and set boundaries, that you can be generous with yourself without being selfish with others. The emptiness you feel is often the space where those repressed parts of you should be. It's like you're a puzzle missing essential pieces, and those pieces are in your shadow, waiting to be recognized and integrated. Practice this. Think of someone who really bothers you. Now ask yourself, What quality of this person, however small, could serve me if I developed it in a balanced way? It's not about copying their flaws, but about rescuing the seed of strength that exists in what bothers you. Jung was right when he said, "We do not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." Your emptiness is part of that darkness you need to make conscious, not to judge yourself, but to understand yourself. Have you noticed that the most interesting people, those with magnetic presence, aren't the perfect ones? They're the ones who have made peace with their contradictions. They're the ones who can be vulnerable and strong, sensitive and firm, generous and selective. They have integrated their shadow. The next exercise is powerful, but requires brutal honesty. Make a list of 5 qualities you consider unacceptable in yourself. Now, next to each one, write how that quality, in its balanced version, could strengthen you. For example, "I am selfish" could become "I can prioritize myself healthily." Your soul isn't asking for perfection. It's asking for integrity, not moral integrity, but psychological integrity, being one with all your parts, the luminous and the dark ones. Here comes the 4th truth, and this may be the most liberating of all. The emptiness you feel is also the result of constantly living in reaction mode instead of creation mode. Jung observed that the emptiest people were those who had spent their entire lives responding to external demands without ever asking themselves what they wanted to create from their own interior. How many hours of your day do you spend reacting? Reacting to messages, to demands, to expectations, to problems others bring you? How many hours do you spend creating? Creating ideas, projects, experiences, moments that are born from your own inspiration and not from external pressure. The difference between reactors and creators is abysmal. Reactors feel like victims of circumstances, always busy but rarely satisfied, always useful to others but strangers to themselves. Creators feel like architects of their experience. They may be less busy, but they're deeply connected to their purpose. Jung understood that the human soul is designed to create, not just to respond. When you live in constant reactive mode, your soul withers because it's not fulfilling its essential function. It's like having a muscle you never use. It atrophies. The emptiness you feel may be the signal that your soul is hungry for authentic creation. Not necessarily art or music, but any form of expression that's born from your essence and not from obligation. It could be the way you organize your house, how you prepare a meal, how you solve a problem at work, how you relate to people. Here comes a transformative exercise. For the next 7 days, identify 1 hour each day that will be exclusively yours. Not to respond to anyone, not to fulfill anything, but to create something. It could be writing, walking without destination, cooking something new, organizing a space, even planning a dream. The key is that it's born from you, not from an external demand. Jung said that every human problem is ultimately a creative problem. Your emptiness isn't a problem to solve by adding more activities or relationships. It's a creative problem that's solved by reconnecting with your ability to create meaning from within. Have you noticed that the most magnetic people aren't those who talk the most, but those who have something genuine to express? They're not full of empty words or filler activities. They're full of intention, of their own purpose, of authentic creation. The difference between feeling empty and feeling fulfilled isn't in how busy you are, but in how connected you are to your own creative force. A person can be super busy and feel empty because all their activity is reactive. Another can have free time and feel fulfilled because they know how to use that time to create from their essence. Practice asking yourself every morning, what do I want to create today? Not what you have to do, what do you want to create? It could be a meaningful conversation, a moment of beauty, an elegant solution, an instant of peace. Creation doesn't have to be grandiose, it just has to be yours. If you've made it this far, it means your soul is already responding to this message. Share this video with someone who also needs to hear this. We come to the 5th and final truth, the one Jung considered most important. The emptiness you feel isn't something to fill from the outside, but something to heal from within. And this healing requires something that in the modern world has become almost revolutionary: the ability to be with yourself without distractions. Jung observed that the emptiest people had something in common. They couldn't tolerate being alone with their own thoughts. They always needed noise, people, activities, anything that would distract them from their interior. But here's the paradox: the more you run from your interior, the emptier it becomes. Your soul needs silence to regenerate. It needs solitude to remember who you are without the world's demands. It needs stillness to hear its own wisdom. But we live in a culture that treats silence as something uncomfortable, solitude as something pathetic, and stillness as something boring. When was the last time you were truly alone, without music, without screens, without books, without anything to distract you from yourself? How did you feel? Uncomfortable, anxious, restless. That discomfort is exactly what your soul needs you to go through to heal the emptiness. Jung practiced what he called confrontation with the unconscious, which was basically spending regular time in total silence, allowing his mind to process without interference. He discovered that in that silence emerged insights, creativity, emotional clarity, and a profound sense of connection with himself. The emptiness you feel is often full of emotional noise, worries, doubts, self-criticism, fears. But when you learn to be in silence with all of that, without trying to fix it or flee from it, something magical happens. The noise calms down, and underneath appears your essence, clear and complete. Here comes the most challenging but also most transformative exercise. For the next 7 days, dedicate 15 minutes each day to being in total silence with yourself, without meditating, without visualizing, without doing anything, just being. If uncomfortable thoughts come, let them come. If sadness arises, let it be. If anxiety appears, accompany it. Don't try to change anything, just observe. Jung understood that the soul doesn't need to be repaired because it's not broken. It just needs to be heard, accepted, integrated. Your emptiness isn't evidence that something is wrong with you, it's evidence that something is trying to be born in you. Do you know what's the difference between people who overcome existential emptiness and those who remain trapped in it? Those who overcome it learn to see emptiness as sacred space, as the womb where a new version of themselves is born. Those who remain trapped see it as something that must be urgently filled with anything. Your soul isn't asking you to add more to your life. It's asking you to return to it. It's asking you to stop seeking your value in external approval and find it in your own integrity. It's asking you to stop living the life others designed for you and start creating the life that resonates with your essence. The process isn't easy. You're going to have to disappoint people who expect you to keep being who you were. You're going to have to face fears you've avoided your whole life. You're going to have to walk alone while you learn to trust your own internal compass. But here's the promise Jung made to anyone willing to undertake this journey. On the other side of emptiness, there isn't just fullness. There's a form of presence that magnetizes authentic experiences. There's a quality of life that doesn't depend on external circumstances. There's a peace that cannot be disturbed by the world's chaos. Practice this mantra that changed my life. My soul knows the way. I just need to follow it. Repeat it every time you feel the emptiness overwhelming you. Your soul does know the way. It's been trying to show you through that emptiness you feel. Emptiness isn't your enemy. It's your most compassionate teacher telling you you're ready for more. You're ready for real life, for your own, for the one you've been postponing while pleasing everyone else. If this message has resonated with you, if you felt that someone finally understands what you've been feeling in silence, I want you to do something. Write in the comments, "I choose my soul." Those 3 words are a declaration that you're ready for this journey back to yourself. And if you know someone who also needs to hear this, share this video. Sometimes all a person needs is to know they're not crazy, that the emptiness they feel makes sense, and that there's a way back home. Subscribe to this channel if you want more content about how to live from your authenticity instead of from your fears. Hit the bell to know every time I post something new. And remember, your soul has been waiting for you to have the courage to listen to it. Today could be the day you finally do.